Cannot believe I'm still doing this trading shit, man. It's insane. All right, well, welcome back. So I've shot this video before, and it was like an hour long, and I don't want to make another hour-long video. I don't want to do that to y'all. So instead, I'm just gonna in the video that I made before that was an hour long, I'm just gonna break everything up and make it multiple different videos, because then it gives me like more ammo to make videos about, and then it makes it easier for y'all to watch, because I don't think y'all want to hear me talk for an hour. That's insane. I'm done with the hour videos for now. But so in this one, the whole goal of this video is I want to take my glasses, or give y'all the goggles, the lens that I see the charts through. So I feel like I've been doing way too much talking in the previous videos of I'm learning this, I'm doing this, I'm trying this, I'm doing this, but I have not shown anything except for 2 videos ago where I lost $1,300. I showed y'all the charts, kind of some trades that I took that wiped me out. But I'm just gonna make this and give you the goggles to put on. You can see just how I see the charts, and then I don't know, maybe you can critique it. Maybe you're like, oh, I see, or I don't know. Take whatever you want from it, but take this video with a grain of salt, a big ass grain of salt, a big ass oceanic rock of salt, please, because I've lost 22K in 6 months of starting live, and then I've already blown 7 top step accounts. So, well, by blow I just mean I've hit the account loss limit 7 times. So yeah, bro, take it with a big ass grain of salt, please, please. But I mean, shoot, man, most trading's hard, bro. Been doing it for a year and a couple months, and most people fail within the first year. They just quit. Actually, 90% of people quit within the first year. 80% of people quit within the second year, and literally 1 to 5%. It's actually probably less than 5%, but 1 to 5% of people, it's probably 1 to 2%, are actually profitable long term. So I mean, it only makes sense that I've lost 22K within 6-7 months, and I've blown 7 top step accounts. But whatever. I'll go ahead and show you. So let me go here and let's go into TradingView. So firstly, I'm just gonna start with showing you what I look for. As you can kind of see here, I've already kind of started one, but I just trade support resistance zones, and that is literally it. Oh, this way. I'll show this. Yeah, I just trade support resistance zones. That's it. When price gets to a previous resistance zone, I'll typically sell. If it gets to a previous support zone, I'll typically buy. Sometimes when it comes to a resistance zone, I might buy, depends on it. Or sometimes when it hits a resistance zone or a support zone, I might sell. I don't think I explained that right. If it hits a support zone, sometimes I'll buy. Typically, you want to sell. If it hits a support zone, sometimes I'll sell. Normally, I'd buy, but whatever. I'll show you. So I just go to the daily or the weekly, and again, take this with a big ass grain of salt, okay? Please. Let me see. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. I'll just sometimes I'll even just trade higher highs and higher lows. If price is just gone high, I'll show you. I'll just do this. This is a lot easier. Price makes a new high and then a new low, or higher low, then a higher high and a higher low. It's what do you typically think it's gonna do if it's just been making higher highs and higher lows? I just think it's gonna go up and make a higher high, and that's what I go for most of the time. And I also just go for support resistance. So if price has just been going like this and bouncing somewhere and, I don't know, doing its thing, I'll just draw out resistance zones like this. It's pretty simple. And then draw out a support zone. And then if, let's say price really did break this resistance zone, then I'll just be all right, I'm just gonna wait for a break and retest and wait for it to hit this zone again, and then I'll buy. Or if it isn't there and it's about to hit the resistance zone, then I'll change this out and then I will just sell. So that's typically what I do. I just place the stop loss somewhat above the zone, and then I don't know, target like the next zone below, or I don't know if it's like if I'm on the 15-minute right now and it's there's like a zone down here, then I'll probably just wait till the zone and wait for it to, I don't know, somewhat come down here and then look to buy. It just depends. But that is typically how I'll do it. So, for instance, like this is Euro USD. This is on the weekly. I'll normally do just the daily, and I'll just find support resistance zones. I'm trying to find a good one so I can just, I don't know, give like a live example. I mean, like I had one here. I was like, this is kind of one. You know, that's kind of like a zone. It bounced here, came up, it bled a little bit through this zone. It's not gonna be a precise zone, but you get the idea. Bounces here, and then it breaks through, and then it bounces again, and then it breaks through, and then had a little bit of bounces throughout here, and then is starting to go up. So I mean, this will probably just continue up, you know, make a new high. So that's kind of how I see it. And then sometimes on the daily, I'll just look at it, I'm like, okay, we're in a quote unquote uptrend. And then I'll just drop to like the 15-minute. I typically do this on Top Step. This is how I do it with futures. I'll look at where it's going on the daily or the 4-hour and kind of come up with a, I don't know, assumption on where it might go in the future. And I'll just drop to the lower time frames and just look for bounces. If it looks like it's in a downtrend, I'll just look for sells. So I kind of just trade with the trend pretty much. Even though sometimes the trend will not be a clear, I don't know, like a clear decision maker, because you could buy with the trend if it's going up and you could still have a losing trade, of course, or you could sell with the downtrend and you could still have a losing trade. It could bounce. So I don't know, but typically I feel like it just works better. Most of the time I'll just trade with the trend, quote unquote, whatever that is. But I'll typically just do that, and that's like about it. I'm not gonna lie, it was very, very simple. Yeah. I'll show, yeah, that was actually like really, really easy. I thought this would take longer. Well, video's over. Hope you enjoyed. That is it. Thank you. I'm just kidding. But actually, these are some setups that I'll also take. So like, let's see. Let's say like this is a resistance zone, and this is like an example of when I will buy in a resistance. So let's say like price came up and touched this zone and it bounces a little bit, and then it comes up, touches it again, maybe like a little deeper, and then bounces again, and it comes up and then trickles around, consolidates, and then comes up, touches it again, and then bounces, and then touches it again, and then bounces and touches it again. I'm just like, all right, this is at some point going to break this resistance zone. I don't think it's always going to bounce, but I think that it will most likely go up. So that's when sometimes I'll just buy a resistance, because I feel like it's just going to shoot up. It's already touched this zone like 5-6 times. If it bounces once in the past, I'll probably just go ahead and sell, because I think it'll bounce from the resistance zone again. But if it touches like 7, 8, 69 times from the zone, then I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna buy, because I feel like it's a in an analogy sense, it's like a soldier trying to break through a wall, or it's like a lion trying to break through a cage, and it's like hit once, it's hit twice, it's hit 3 times, 4 times. It's like at some point this beast is gonna break out of this cage and just shoot up. So that's just how I look at it, and that's what I think will happen most of the time. Sometimes, if that happens. But if it only like bounces one time in the past, let's see, like just touches it and bounces, it goes away, trickles around lower, and then comes up and then touches it again. Right when it touches, I'm like, all right, I think this is a good sell. So I'll, do that, like right above the zone, and I'll sell. And then same thing is said for support zones. I'll typically, same thing, if it trickles around, bounces and bounces again, and then boom, boom, and then touches again, I'll probably just sell here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then some other things that I've noticed, like patterns that I've noticed that I like to trade on also. I don't know what this is called. I've seen it somewhere, but I do not know what it is called. Um, but I do know that it looks like this. So let's say price comes up and it makes a higher low, and then it comes up. Sometimes it'll make an equal high or like a slightly lower high, and it just does this little pattern here. And maybe it makes another equal high and like a lower high or a lower high and then a higher low. This, again, I don't know what to call this, but every time I see this, most of the time I will just go after it. Like I will just buy, especially if it if it comes down, like if it comes up, and I just imagine this bouncy ball that is just getting squeezed and it's getting tighter, and at some point it's gonna have a breakthrough, and I think to the upside most of the time, sometimes. Especially if it makes this move upward, this ginormous move upward. Doesn't even really have to be a ginormous move, but for the most part, it'll have this major move, and it just makes this little squeezed pattern. And I've found most of the time when I've traded these, I've had winners. And I'll typically just buy somewhere towards the end of this when I think it's a good point. I'll most likely have my stop loss below this, the lowest low that it's made, if that makes sense. I'll typically have it below that one, and then I'll just, I don't know, shoot for like an equal high or maybe like a new high from this one here, and that's kind of what I'll go for. And then same is said for the opposite. If it makes a move downward and it makes a lower high, I guess, and then a higher low, and then a lower high and a higher low and a lower high and a higher low, and it's like the same thing. As you can see, it just has this, it's like a golf flag. I don't even know what to call this. But yeah, and then it typically just has a big sell-off. And that's what I'll shoot for. I like seeing these setups. I think these are good ones. For some reason, my brain, this was the first pattern that I ever noticed. I was like, this makes a lot of sense. Every time I took a trade before and I've seen that this pattern has happened, I'm like, you know what? I like this. I think it makes sense to me. I can notice them when they're being created pretty quickly. I like trading those. But that's pretty much it, man. I just do support resistance. It is nothing crazy. I don't fill my chart up with a lot of stuff. I just trade support resistance. And I'm not gonna lie, I've traded so on Top Step with futures, bro. Okay, blowing 7 accounts, I was not angry. I was just like, oh, okay, here goes another account that I just lost. So now I gotta pay again to open a new one and then do the same thing. My problem was I was just being very impatient with Top Step, with futures trading. I'm very impatient. I do not know why. It's a bad habit, very, very bad. I just get impatient. I'm just like, all right, let me just pass this funded phase so I can just start then building slowly of the account and compounding, because I know I can compound it. It's just I'm growing impatient, and I'm just like, all right, let me pass this, whatever. It's no big deal, but that's stupid. And then I was also trading on that account aggressively. Every trading or every Top Step account I had, I just traded aggressively. And I say aggressively, really it was just like stupid, but it was aggressive. It's a terrible combination, stupid and aggressive. But yeah, I literally do the same thing on futures, support resistance zones, and that is it. The only thing that I do not have down on Top Step is there's a big difference from Forex to Top Step futures. Is with Forex you can have multiple different positions, but with Top Step I can't do that. It's all merged into one position. So if you were to add into a trade or add into a loss, or add in profit, add in a loss, it just moves the line down. It's like the same as if you were to back test on TradingView. It kind of works the same way. So I don't have a risk structure for Top Step, which I'm figuring out for futures. I'm figuring out a risk structure. I'm actually going to show you the risk structure that I have for Forex and the way that I trade now with, all right, I drew out support resistance zones, but like how do I go about executing a trade? And then what do I do if it goes against me? And what if I do if it goes in profit? So I'm going to show you that. But on Top Step, I don't have this figured out. I'm still kind of figuring out. I'm picking apart Nick's brain, and I'm also picking apart like what I'm doing and taking screenshots of before and after. But let me show you that real quick. How am I gonna? Yeah. Let me show you that real quick. So I'm gonna try to wrap this up, make it quick, not make a hour-long video again. So let's say price comes up and it's doing this, I guess, like if I had a zone here and it's like a perfect break and retest. What I'll do is I'm gonna make a decision. Okay, I'm gonna buy here when the price gets to here, and when it gets here, I'm gonna buy, and then a stop loss right below the support zone. And I'll just aim for, I guess, a new high somewhere up here. I don't know. I don't really look for the risk-reward ratio. I just say, is this a good spot where I think price will get? If yes, then I'm doing it. But for this sake, I'll just shoot for a 1 to 5. So let's say like price starts to go up and it goes into profit. What I will do on Forex is I will just add another winning position. It doesn't have to, I don't shoot for a specific pip amount of movement. I just look for where I'm like, okay, this is good enough in profit and this is a good place to add, so I'll add another winning trade. And it's gonna have a different target profit because it's moved up slightly, but the stop loss will still be the same value amount of loss, like dollar amount of loss. So let's say like for the first trade, right before I added, it was $100 stop loss and a $500 winner. When I add the second position in, and it's slightly going to be above, the stop loss of the second position it's still going to be $100, and the target profit is now going to be $500. So now I'm in the same trade essentially. Hopefully, the whole goal is to get the positions close enough to where they're essentially still just the same trade. It's just you're adding into the winner. And so let's say it goes even more into profit. I'll add a third, fourth, fifth position, just as long as it still makes sense to do so. And then every position before the last one, I just move it to break even. Every single trade before. But the last one that I have, I'm gonna keep the stop loss open because I just want it to essentially still be the same trade. And even if it comes down and it hits break even for the first two positions, but it still goes up, I still have a chance to still be in the same position and still add from that, if that makes sense. Hopefully that did. But this idea of adding to winners in every trade before the last one, you just bring the stop to break even. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels so comfortable. It feels so right. Like, it makes so much sense to me. And I love trading this. So I've been trading like this with this approach for the past 2-3 months, I think. I actually don't remember. Normally I'm pretty good about remembering exact dates, but I actually don't for this one. But I've probably been doing it for the past like month or two. Especially on demo. Right now I'm still trading demo Forex because I want to figure out everything and first become profitable on demo and then move over to live again when I feel ready. For a Top Step, I can't do this same approach. I wish I could with multiple different positions, but it's all merged into one. So I'm still figuring out a good risk structure for Top Step. But that is essentially what I'll do. So I want to show y'all real quick the trades that I've taken over the past, this is just going to be the past 2 weeks, but here we go. This is when it started. So I simulated a demo 10K account. That's what I had last time. And I'm just going to go through the trades real quick and I'll show you the numerical value, but I'll give you like live examples of trades that I actually took so it'll kind of make sense. On GBP AUD, this is kind of the screenshot. This is on the 4-hour. So here I saw this as a resistance zone. I thought it would bounce here. Well, technically a support zone. It was resistance and then turned into support after it broke. So I was like, okay, this is a good little break and retest. So I placed a trade. You can see these two little blue arrows. They're the buy positions. I placed a one buy initially. Dragged my stop loss. I believe I had it below this low. And it went into profit. I added another position. It went up, and I added a third position, I think. Maybe I think one of them was like a really small amount, so I could see what the stop loss would be. And then I added a second heavier position. So technically, this is just one position, these two blue arrows. And this is one. So 2 trades total. As you can see, the red arrow is where it closed at, so it broke at break even. It stopped out at break even. This second one though became a loss. I think I have it here on GA. Yeah, a $287 loss. So those two together were the first 2 blue arrows, and then that $287 loss. But I thought that was a good place to place a trade. And then you can see I placed some others further along, but this is where it was. So I saw this as a support also. So when I placed the trade initially, I thought that it would come up to this resistance zone, which is where my target profit was. I was shooting for this resistance zone up here, but ended up not working out, which it is what it is. This is GU. Essentially the trade here, I think it was I bought here, so I knew that this zone I thought would be a support zone again. This is on the daily time frame. So first position was right at the bounce. It ended up stopping at a small little profit. Second trade I added in, that one stopped out at break even, and then the third trade it had a loss. I don't remember what the loss size was. I think it was GU. So that one break even basically USD GU, yeah, $235 loss. So that was that one. This is kind of how it looked on the H4 in a bigger zoomed out mode. But USD CHF, I saw this as a bounce. At first it was resistance, it bounced here, it bounced again, and then broke through, came up, tested, and found a little resistance. I found a perfect sell right here. So I added here, I added here, added here. First position was in a good profit. Second position was at break even. And this third position was at a smaller loss than the first one that I placed. So I essentially came out profitable on that one. Came out with profit on that one. It was that one was nice. That one bounced perfectly. I just love when it just bounces right when I think it will. I think this is, yeah, a zoomed in picture. So first position, second position at break even, you can see the red line, and then third one was just a smaller loss than this one. So it ended up being a good little profit. These are further along. I think I cover these later. This is an EU trade. It's on the daily. I saw this would be resistance. There was a resistance zone. It bounced. It came up, tested again, tried to bounce and just broke through. Came down, tested again, found a little bounce, and then just like sold off. I don't know why I sold here. I think it was because, I think I have it here. It just looked insane. I don't even know if oh no, I don't have the picture. But basically EU was like, it looked like it was due for a reversal. Just looking at it, it was insane. So I just decided to sell. It made a lower high. So I'm like, okay, I think it'll make a lower low. So I sold right here. Remember, I was at work when I took this trade. Sold, hit the profit target, and then I can't even tell what's going on in that far right side, but I think yeah, here it is. Sold here. I had 2 positions. You can kind of see it. I added, so first position went into profit, then I added again, and these 2 hit the target profit. I think with these ones I sold, and it stopped me out. Yeah, I sold here, it stopped me out. Then I sold again to add into the winner, and that came back, hit the loss for EU. So at the time, let's see what it looks like. So I had a $300 winner on EU. Those are those 2 positions. And then this one also had a 75, 150. This is right after. I had some pretty good losses here. So CHF 221, USD CHF 510, GA 186, EU 217. So that week kind of fried me, but let's go look at those. I just covered the EU trades. USD CAD. This one I thought was a pretty good trade. I sold here. It bounced here. As you can see, it bounced up. It broke through. Maybe this wasn't as clear of a resistance zone as I thought, looking at it now. But in the moment, I was like, oh, this is perfect. So I sold here. Thought it would bounce. Target profit was at this zone where all these other lows are. Sold here. Ended up stopping me out. Took a loss on that one. It's like a zoomed in picture of the H4 zone. So I sold here because I saw it starting to trickle down. So I was like, all right, this is gonna work out. So I sold, and literally as soon as I sold, it just like took off against me. So bit me in the butt. CHF JPY. This just looked crazy. I was like, yeah, this is the perfect time for a sell. What did I do? resistance that spiked easily from that zone. I sold here. I thought that I could still catch the move. I thought it was really just gonna go down, that I could catch the move, but it just consolidated here, and that wasn't as nice. But I sold here again. This trade ended up breaking out in. I keep saying breaking out. Stopped out at break even. Same for this one, and then I added again on the third position, and that was the $510 loss. So that one hurt. And then this is also, I like to go for these setups too. This is on USD CAD on a 15-minute. It went down, touched this resistance zone, or support zone really. It bounced. It came down, tested again, bounced, came down, tested again, bounced, came down, tested again. So at a moment like this, I would just sell. Like it's making that little flag thing a little bit, but it's I don't even know what to call this, honestly. This just looks like a perfect sell. I wouldn't buy here because it's already tested so many times. I just feel like it's just gonna break through. I just don't trust buying again after it touched 100 times, and it just doesn't make sense. So then this was the week. This was the same week. This is when all the trades were going into profit. I could have closed at like 602. The account would have been at 11,000. Would have made $1,000. This was in like 2 weeks, and then shortly went up to like 705. I could have closed it a little over 1,000, or excuse me, 11,000, which would have been nice. But there's just some other trades that I had. This was yesterday, so the account was at 8,900. I was slowly taking losses. This was yesterday. It was at like a 519 profit, then 682, then 730. I think it went up higher. No. I think I closed everything here and it was at 9,000. Yeah, 9,566. That's where the account sits now. So all in all, I'm short 260. It's more like $440, something like that. $434. And these are just some other trades that I was taking. But that's basically it. Those are like some of the trades that I've taken in the past 2 weeks. So my current account is up, or it's down like $430 something. And these are some other trades that I was looking at. Sold here. And these. So at a rangy spot. But that's basically it. I hope this wasn't too long of a video. I don't even know how long I've been recording for. 27 minutes. Okay, that's not bad. But yeah, that's basically it. I'm trying to think of anything else that I've wanted to cover. I don't think I have anything else. I'm actually gonna go and trade futures. It's like, what time is it? It's 7:36. So probably go and trade futures. Chill for the rest of the day. I'm actually off today from work, so it'd be nice. But yeah, man, that's basically it. Been trading Forex on demo, been trading futures, been getting my ass kicked on there. Again, take everything with a grain of salt. I am not profitable one day, but I'm still figuring out the ropes of futures. Forex I feel a lot more comfortable with. I think I'm figuring that out pretty quickly. But futures is just like, man, I don't know. There was one point after I blew like the 7th account, I was like, maybe I just need to learn liquidity. Maybe I need to understand like what fair value gap is, and like maybe I need to understand like where these spots of liquidity, and like maybe I need to like, I don't know. I started getting in my head, and I was like, wait, hold on, Kirk. I think all you need to do is just stop trading stupidly aggressive on futures. And it's not that you're lacking any information or any knowledge. It's just that you're not trading responsibly. I'm trading aggressive and I'm trading stupid. I'm just trying to get past the funded part, or get past to the funded part, so I can just start then trading slowly. But I guess I have to go ahead and just trade slowly now. So I need to learn that and just stop trying to be aggressive and to just take it slow. You know, there is no rush. I don't need to be in a rush. But yeah, that's basically it. I got in my own head. I was like, I need to learn fair value gap and ICT and like liquidity, and I don't understand liquidity, but I'm over here trying to focus on things that are just ridiculous over just trading support resistance and sticking to that, because I don't know. I was like, I'm buying at support, but it's not working out, or I'm selling at resistance and it's still not working. And there's some times in futures, bro, like I'll be in a good profit and I'm like, I'll just let it continue to run. But that thing will just soon just like start tanking. And it's like, it knows where my stop loss is and it just heads straight for it. And I'm like, what the? And I'll end up just losing. But I'll be in a good profit. I think that's the problem too, is if I were to actually be taking profits rather than just trying to let it run and trying to be like a really, really good winner, I think I would have collected a lot more profits. And instead of losing and blowing like 7 Top Step accounts, I am not shitting you. It's like literally 7. But I think that's the issue too. I just was not pulling out profits. With Forex, you can kind of get away with that, of just letting trades run, especially when they're in profit, with the kind of risk structure I have. But since I don't have a risk structure for Top Step, and I don't really know how to structure it, and because futures is super, super lucrative and very volatile, you probably just want to take the profits whenever you're up. But then, like, what if you're cutting out profits because you could have let it run further and you're missing out on money? I guess try not to be a hero, but at the same time, it's like, take your profits. So that's basically it. I want to leave it out on that note, but that's it. But if you watch this, thank you. If you enjoyed it, thank you. If you enjoyed it, that's good. Hopefully, I just want this to help somebody, one person, somebody like resonates with it and is like, I don't know, made support resistance seem easier. But that's all I got, y'all. So I'll catch y'all on the next one on the flip side, but I hope you have a great day. See ya.